Hello and welcome to SouthDailyFlows.com, and this is Mohit Minocha. In this video we will discuss what exactly is a sale deed, what are the components of a sale deed and why is it important for the property buyers. So let's start. Let's understand in detail about property sale deed. So what exactly is a property sale deed? Well, sale deed is the most important legal document as it conveys the ownership from the seller to the buyer. By definition, the sale deed is the main document by which a seller transfers his right on the property to the purchaser, who then acquires absolute ownership of the property. Sometimes it is also referred to as conveyance deed. The buyer should ensure the title of the seller before the execution of the sale deed. Let's understand the sale deed process. Once the buyer and a seller has agreed on a specific price, they enter into an agreement to sell. An agreement to sell is a document prior to sale deed to agree to the sell to the property to the buyer at a future date. In an agreement to sell, an advance payment from the buyer to the seller has to be made, which can be generally from a range between 20 to 40% of the sale price. In agreement to sell, the terms and conditions as well as payment schedule will be recorded and decided. Generally, a buyer gets between 2 to 3 months to make the full and final payment. Well, agreement to sell also include other terms and conditions such as damages if either buyer defaults on payment or if seller backs out of the sale. Once the buyer makes the full and final payment, then the sale deed, which is the final document, is executed at the sub-registrar office. Through sale deed, ownership is transferred from seller to the buyer. The buyer has to pay the stamp duty for the sale deed and register the sale deed, then only the sale deed is legalized and ownership is simultaneously transferred from the seller to the buyer. Sale deed means transfer of rights. Basically, it establishes the ownership rights. It conveys ownership from the seller to the buyer on realization of the full and final payment. What kind of rights are transferred by the sale deed? Well, right to legally use the property, right to lease, right to loan or mortgage property, and right to sell. Is sale deed a conveyance deed? It is a broader conveyance deed. Conveyance can happen in the form of gift deed, will, lease deed also. Sale deed is also a type of conveyance deed through which ownership right is transferred from the seller to the property buyer. What are the components that has to be included in sale deed? Details like name, age, parent's name, husband name, wife's name, and address of both buyer and seller. Schedule of the property such as exact address, location, size of the plot, covered area of the unit to be sold is recorded. It also covers payment details, agreed sale price, payment schedule, advance paid, dates, and payment mode such as check, RTGS details is recorded. All the original documents of the property are handed over along with the sale deed. Before the execution of the sale deed, it is also one has to make sure that there should not be any lien or encumbrances. If there is a prior loan on a property, it has to be cleared in full and final before the execution of the sale deed. All the prior dues has to be cleared before, such as house tax, electricity bills, and water bills. Sale deed also includes indemnity provisions for both buyer and the seller. It covers damages to be paid if any of the buyer and seller deviates from the contract of the sale deed. What are the things to take care before the sale deed? Title search from the time of allotment of the property, previous records of transactions, no third party pending claims, entire chain of title documents from the first owner to the present owner of the property. If there has been any prior court dispute, then there should be a concluding favorable judgment order passed. What are the steps in execution of sale deed? A sale deed draft is to be prepared by a professional property lawyer and has to be approved by both buyer and seller. Stamp duty is to be paid. In Delhi, it ranges between 5 to 7%. Then the sale deed draft is to be printed on the stamp paper. While signing the sale deed, sign of both buyer and seller has to be on every page. Thumb impression of both buyer and seller. Then generally there are two witnesses, ideally each from buyer and seller side. Once sale deed is signed by the buyer, seller and the witnesses, it is to be registered in the sub-registrar office. All the parties including buyer, seller and witnesses has to be physically present in the sub-registrar office. In case buyer is not able to come for sale deed execution, then he can assign the power of attorney for the purpose of buying a property. Buyer always pays for the stamp duty charges. All the original document has to be handed over to the buyer along with the execution of the sale deed. Well, this concludes our sale deed guide. If you have any further questions, you are most welcome to leave your comments. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe our channel. Thank you.